everyone, welcome to another week in our garden. It's lovely sunshine again, but we've had some rain. Thank you very much up there for the rain. Didn't have a lot, but we had enough to refresh the garden. Now the temperature today is 30 degrees. Now the first thing we're going to do this week is a review. Now I've been contacted by Clapotis, who make hose pipes, and they've made a new expanding hose and they want me to do a review on it before it's launched on Amazon. Now they sent me a hose pipe. This is a 50 foot, you can get them in 100 foot, but I thought 50 foot is just enough for Diane to do the courtyard, which I must admit we've had one or two goes with it, and she's decided it's her hose pipe now for doing around the house the flowers. There's the box it came in. Not very big for a 50 foot hose pipe. All the need to know's in it. I do believe it comes in 3 colours, but the one we've got is actually black. Now inside the box you get a lovely little bag. You wouldn't think that in there is a 50 feet hose pipe with a gun for discharging and brass fittings. Very compact. Let's have a look at it. There's the gun. It's the normal settings that you get round the edge, and then it's got a on and off switch at the top. You can actually slow the flow down, which is useful. I'll show you later when you're doing hanging baskets, that's very useful. And then there's a lock off. If you want to leave it on, you lock it and it stays on, and then you flick it and it goes off. Feels good, feels sturdy enough, and it works very well. This is the hose pipe. As you can see, it's got a braided or a woven finish on the outside, and on the inside it's latex tube, which is very, very hard wearing. You can see how far it will stretch. 3 times its length it will stretch, and it seems to, it feels very good. And this nice woven outer edge is very hard wearing, so it should be right. Both the ends are brass, which is unusual. Good stuff, brass. And that one just screws into there, look, like that. See, and then you've got your on off there as well. And so you've got on off there, and this one will slow the flow. I'll show you how to work that. Now the other end that goes onto the tap, if you've got that size tap, that screws straight on, but I think most of the British ones are a bit bigger than that, so you just screw that off and that fits straight onto our taps. Just screws on, and then you can actually, it takes a bit of pulling because it's new, actually leave that on your tap, because that will fit a multitude of different pieces that you can put on. And then when you want this one on, it's a lovely finish, lovely brass, and that just clips in and it's on. But if you're on the smaller one, then you put that one on. Always make sure that rubber's in place so it will leak. Likewise on that one, it's got a rubber in as well. So I'll pop these together so we don't get them lost. That's it, that's the hose. Easily to wrap up. And if you think at the end of the season, when you're finished, or when you finish using it, if you drain the water out of it like you would do anyway with a hose, and put it back in its bag, it'll store well for the winter. There it is, look, 50 foot hose pipe in a coil so you can see it all. The gun and the bag that comes with it. Now it has been launched on American Amazon. if you're interested and you want some, and you want one in the UK or anywhere in the world, they will ship it to you. Now Diane will also put the details on a drop down box for you, so you'll be able to see them. We'll show you some clips of us actually using it when we're watering the flowers up at the house. You'll also see the nice flowers as well. I like it. It's I had one go with it, but then Diane sort of took over and she liked it that much. She says it's now to be kept up at the house for her to water the flowers with, so it must be good. Okay, now we're going to nip down and have a look at the pumpkins, show you how they're getting on, and then when we come back we'll take some of these grapes off. There's far too many on here. We'll take the smaller bunches out, I think. But let's go and look at these pumpkins. Now the other thing just to tell you is that the field to the front of the house is being combined today, so if you can hear a combine in the background, I'm afraid it's the farmer getting his corn in while the sun's shining. Let's go and look at some pumpkins. Right, I'm down in the pumpkin patch. Excuse me. This is one of those times that you wish you put long trousers on, because these leaves are terribly scratchy, but I persevere. Now if you look down here you'll see there's 3 here doing rather well. They're colouring up nicely now. Very pleased with those. I've got loads of pumpkins and squashes on. I don't really want the plants any bigger, so can you see where it's growing across now? So I'm going to cut it off. It has got fruit on it there, look. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to cut it off just at this side of that fruit, look. And any that, now as that fruit, or if that fruit gets any bigger, the weight will take that down to the ground again. Anything like this now that comes up above the foliage, I should be cutting off to try and control them a bit. There's loads more on this one coming. That's a nice coloured one. They're colouring up a bit early this year. That's because of the hot season. Another one here, like, doing rather well. 2 more here, and there's plenty of small ones up that side still coming. We'll have a good pumpkin harvest this year. Now we've quite a few growing up on this frame, so I'll just go around and show you a few of the different varieties that we've got. Lovely plants. This one you see has got a bit damaged. This one you see that I just knocked off there, it's got a bit damaged, so it's given up. That's what you find. Find any of those, remove them. They can go on the compost heap. Shape ones there, look. That's a lovely shape, that one. I think I might get some colour in there. Okay. Now these are the spinning gourds that TK sent us. They're doing very well. We're getting loads of them. You can even see them all coming through at the top. You see that? Look, there's a butternut squash there, sat on the ledge, that one, so we'll leave that one alone. All coming along nicely, a nice stripy one there, look. Lovely colours. These 3 are the snowman. I must bring some more pads down to put under them. I don't like them on the soil. There's another one coming there, look, I just knocked the flower off it, but I think it's finished. Loads still coming, but want to look after the ones we've got, so we'll put pads on. Now this one is the blue one. I forgot its full name, but it comes actually blue. There's at least 3 of those coming nicely now. Got quite a bit of size on them. They're okay. You can see the ground's still a bit dry. Now, as you know, pumpkins and squashes are very, very thirsty. They need an awful lot of water. If I watered over the foliage, not a lot would get down to the main roots, but if I followed the bottles down, that goes direct down to the root of one of these plants. So all I do is get the can and tip it in. Now I know that water now is going direct to the root of that pumpkin, and I give it a can. If you can imagine, you need an awful lot of water. An awful lot of water for this amount of foliage. Miss for a few days and your foliage will fall. Very good, very efficient way of watering. If you think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cans, 3 walks from the tank up there, and I've done the whole of this bed. And I've also used this on those tomatoes and the peppers as well. I'll adopt this more and more now. It's very simple. So I'll leave this, finish this evening. I'll have to miss this one now because it's had a good drink. And we'll trim some of those grapes off, I think, while it's a bit hot out here. We'll do that in the shade. Now, if you can remember, I lifted the onions and left them on the surface in the sunshine for a little while, and then the weather broke, so I've actually hung them in this little lean-to on the rack, if you remember my racks. Now I've had to put some mesh on the rack as well because the onions are a lot smaller this year due to the hot weather, but I'll show you them on the rack. There's the onions on the rack. They're drying out nicely now. I couldn't turn them between the lats this year because of the size, but they'll be fine. They're drying out nicely now, look. And this is rubber mesh, so it's not going to scratch them or damage them in any way. I don't know if you can see in this dark lean-to, but these are drying out nicely now. I'm very pleased with them. I haven't put them reds at one end and whites at the other. I just put them all on to get them dry. They're doing fine. Now these are what I'm using for supporting the melons. I've cut quite a few strips out of it just in case we need to support any of those pumpkins and squashes on the frame. I don't think we'll need them for that, but they will go holding the watermelons up in the greenhouse. I should put a little hook on each corner. It's rubberized mesh. I think we got it from one of the DIY stores as a non-slip mat, but with it being rubberized, it won't scratch or damage the watermelons in any way, and it's with it being a little bit elastic, it'll support them well. So that's next time up the greenhouse, you'll see those up on the watermelons. Now we're going to reduce some of the grates on this vine. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to remove some of the smaller bunches of grape. I'll just show you one. Such as that. If you left them, they will still make good grapes, but we've got that many up there, we've got to reduce it a little bit. You can see where the drought has stopped a lot of the grapes forming. How we're going to take them off? It looks like we're spoiling the grapes, but the others will do better for it. You see this one here, look, we'll take that one as well, and this one. There we are, we'll take those two out. It looks like we've got one of the chickens popped round to give us a hand. I'll just give her this bit of corn, stop her eating the grapes should I drop any, but I think she'll eat them anyway. Here again, we've got to thin them a bit. I won't finish it today, there's far too many of them, but you're getting the idea what I've got to remove from here. If you look across, you can see there's far too many grapes. All colour and ripen, but I think with it being such a drought year, they're not going to swell up much. I'll finish this evening, I think, when it's a bit cooler, so it's so hot. if you haven't got a lot of grapes, then there'll be no need to thin. You could later in the season thin the groups down a little bit, but looking at them, there's that many tiny small grapes on that fall off. You could really get away with it, but I will reduce them anyway. It's very hot under here. Now while I'm here, I'll just show you the seeds that we put in are all germinated. We'll have a quick look at those and then we'll go up for a cup of tea, I think. I thought as we was passing the table, I'd just show you the brassicas we set that are all coming up nicely. That's an extra set of beetroot. There's one or two just coming up. Now I've planted the Romanesco again because the first lot died. It might just be too hot for it. I got some spring onion there. They're the guardsmen. They'll go planted in these groups. And then that's the red, the spring onion, the blood red as it's called. Bit on the dry side. I want a drop of water, but this evening. Next. Right, the sun's just popped in for a moment, but we're also going to pop in now and have a cup of tea. Okay. Hello everyone and good afternoon. Glorious day. It's just under 30 today, about 28, 29 degrees. It's very, very warm. We're in the greenhouse, as you can see. It's awfully hot in here, so I won't be spending long in here. But what I will do before I go, I shall wet all the floor, etc. So as it evaporates, it will cool it down a little. Everything's doing well. We're nearly harvesting half the tomatoes now. They're going very well. Now, Gemma's Mark came yesterday and brought me some sheets for my roof. Very nice too. Now we just need to get the new shed roof on. But that'll be an ongoing job. Now, with him coming, we had to have a cup of tea, which we was having anyway. And then I did 2 boxes of veg for Gemma. So the time we picked all those, it was tea time. So we're picking up today where we left off. So we'll do a little bit to show you how I'm supporting the melons, and then we'll go in the courtyard and round the front of the cottage and we'll show you that waterer. If you remember when we was down the shed, I said I was putting these on to support these melons, and then I'll show you when we're up here. So here they are. These are those supports I got. It's like a rubberized mesh. It's very good. It's like elasticy, so it holds them nicely. About 10 altogether. Some of the others are above this mesh here, so they'll sit on there until they're right. Looking at this one, I don't think they're going to be long before they're ready. It sounds nearly ready. What I've done, I've got some galvanized wire and I've made a hook, and I just hooked it through the mesh and hooked it onto one of the hooks that are in the roof anyway for the hanging basket. The other side I hung onto the frame that's holding the whole lot up there. There's enough there to support it, but it's soft, so it's not going to damage them at all. And this one, that's the one with 2 in the bed, 2 in the hammock if you like. It'll be interesting to see what they taste like. We've never done melons before. Now, as you can see, the sun gold at the back there are doing rather well. But what I'm finding in this heat, that you have to pick them as soon as they're ripe, if not they will split. Now we'll pop into the courtyard and I'll show you the hose doing some watering, and we'll go around the front of the cottage as well and we'll show you how we do a hanging basket. Now we've popped into the courtyard. It's just as hot in here as what it was in that greenhouse. Now the brass coupler that are on the hose, I'd just also like to show you as well, if we can just unscrew that everything is very tightly crimped. There's no way that will come off. It's also nice and tight for you, so I'll pop that back on. Now you've seen it. There you are, it makes a nice finish on there. Now it comes like that. Now to fit it on our tap, which is obviously an old-fashioned tap, so you just take that off like that, pull that out, and that actually screws onto the tap. Always make sure you've got a rubber washer in there so it doesn't leak all over. And then that screws on there, and when you come to use the hose, you literally pull that down and push up, and that's on now. I'm just going to water these. It's in the shade, so I can water over the top. They'll soon be dry. The other thing is, with this having the coil inside, it won't kink. It doesn't kink at all. I like that. The beauty of it is I can slow it down a little bit so it's not so fierce. I will water in rather than on. But as you can see, that's good. There are 8 settings around here of all different: mist and shower and rinse and flat and soaker. I think that's on most, but it feels good to the hand. Okay, now if you wanted to leave it on, you can put that on, put that little catch up there, lot, and that will just carry on there. If you're in soaking and you want to soak a piece of land, that'll be useful. And then you just flick it and it stops. You've got your on off here, so there's nothing. Once you switched off, that's it. And also, as I said, you've got the switch at the top that slows it right down. It's useful that, because especially when doing the hanging baskets, you want that nice steady flow, not the jet. But I'll show you that round the front in a moment. I'll just show you it going. I don't want to do the plants that are in the sun too much, and this one, what I should do is I should just put the head inside and let it do a little bit of watering inside. You don't want to get this wet. And the clematis, as soon as these flowers are done, we'll take some cuttings off this one. Well, there's 2 there actually. We've got white and this purple one together, so we'll take cuttings off them. It's no good taking them yet, look, 'cause it's covered in flower buds. But like all clematis, they like the roots in the cool and the heads in the sun. So I won't spray all this, I'll just put the hose in there. We don't really like to water at this time of day, best in the evening or first thing in the morning. There you are, this fuchsia as well. I'll do it from here, it's easier. There you go. I'll take it round to the front of the cottage and we'll do one of the hanging baskets. Right, we're round at the front in full sunshine. It faces due south, this cottage, and it really is hot round here. I am going to water this hanging basket, but I'm only going to water into the bottom of the basket. I'm not going to touch the foliage. So I shall start this and I shall put it on the low setting, and then I'm going to put it into the base of the basket and then water it. You don't want to get your foliage wet in this weather. I will pop it here, I think. There you go. I'm just going to water the basket if I can. There you are. I have to tilt the basket a little bit, but you get the idea. And then you always water your baskets, especially in the evening, until you see the water dribbling out the bottom, and then you know you've really wet them. If you can remember the standards we made, I put the standards in here. They're just coming up actually for their second flowering, but they do take a lot of sun around here. They're doing very well. I'll let Diane show you what we've got in the front, and I'll take the hose away. There it is. There's the hosepipe. After use, hung up nicely, nice and tidy. and it's very light to use. It's a very good hose pipe, I like it. Diane has been using this hose pipe and she loves it. It's less cumbersome than the other one, and I found it very light to use, especially when you're finished and you're packing it away. It's so simple. It goes back to about a third its size, and it hangs on the hanger a lot tidier than the other one did. So I can recommend the hose pipe. That'll be about it for this week from nice sunny, every time I say sunny the sun goes in. That'll be about it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Many thanks for subscribing, and thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye now.